Now, WJC's Purple Playbook brought to you by M&T Bank.
Welcome into Purple Playbook. I'm Grace Grill in for Alex Glaze and joined by two-time Super Bowl champion Torrey Smith. Schedule release week. Everybody's got this circled on the calendar, right? It's become the biggest thing. I'm kidding, of course. But we got to take a quick look at the schedule. If we pull it up on the screen here, what immediately stands out to you about the schedule here for the Ravens?
Well, the thing that I look forward to the most and seeing is that they had the opportunity to go down to Rio. However, there's no bye week in between. So that's the number one thing that stands out to me when you talk about a schedule and traveling and being way out of your comfort zone. Athletes and coaches are routine type of people, so it's going to be interesting to see how folks adjust with that. Otherwise, you're talking about a team that missed out, right? So therefore, your schedule isn't going to be as strong as you've been used to seeing it over the years. And I think it's a very competitive schedule to allow the team to put themselves in a great position.
Yeah, and obviously we'll go through this here, going with week one. I mean, they open up the season on the road at the Colts. I've seen some people look at this as like, oh, this is giving, runway for this new coaching staff to build momentum. But I don't know that that's an easy game to build to start the season out.
No, the Colts were really strong last year, and it all boils down to the quarterback position for them. They're very competitive. As we all know, they're very well coached. And last year, Daniel Jones, it was a revival there. They looked very good until he tore his Achilles. So I think this is a group that has the opportunity to compete, but this Ravens team will be ready to roll.
Well, you mentioned week three, playing Dallas in Rio. We're going to get to that matchup a little bit later in the show. We got Tennessee, Atlanta, Cleveland. You get some divisional games in there. Let's jump around to week 8 at Buffalo Bills. That has now become a big one, playing that one in the middle of the season there. So it gives this new coaching staff a little bit of time to get their feet wet before playing them.
Now, it's a big one and it's going to have playoff implications, but at this point, it's become a little bit of a rivalry there.
Yeah.
For the years when I was playing there, it felt like that was always the New England Patriots, and it seems like it's shifted a little bit to the Buffalo Bills here when you have two of the top quarterbacks in the league going at it, and looking forward to, checking that one out for sure.
Why is playing at Buffalo so tough?
I don't even think it's tough. It's just, depending on when you get there. They're going to have a brand new stadium, by the way, this year. The dumbest financial decision in the history of mankind was made by the Buffalo Bills to build a multi-billion-dollar stadium with no roof so they can just be cold in a mansion. Doesn't make any sense. But I'm excited to see what it looks like. Their fans are extremely passionate. And before, it was definitely a draft in there, really cold. It could be really windy. The windiest game I've ever played in was in Buffalo. So the weather can decide a lot of things. But with this new stadium, it's going to be a little bit different.
Some of the other things that stood out to me, a couple of opponents that they haven't played in a while, those Carolina Panthers, your former team too. You've got two former teams on here, haven't played them in a while. The Jags as well. What's cool about getting some of the unfamiliar opponents back on the schedule?
Oh, man, it's just good for the league, right? I think as a fan, you watch it, you kind of get bored with seeing the same people over and over. And when you see the good things that are going on, what I recognize as a player and as a fan of the game is that you only really know what your TV market has unless you're really locked in. So to have the opportunity to see what's going on with the AFC South, with the NFC South is a really cool thing with the Carolina Panthers. That's a very talented team that's young and getting better. So there are a lot of threats on this schedule. It's not as easy as the metrics will say, right? It's going to be super competitive, but I love the schedule for the Ravens.
You see it right there, that bye week coming in week 13. Pretty late bye week, especially. You like it?
I love it.
Tell me why.
I love a late bye week because it allows you the opportunity to heal when you go on that last final push.
Yeah.
Right? Those last 6 or 7 games, it's not to say that the entire season doesn't matter. That's not what I'm saying. However, those last 6 or 7 games, you really need to be at your best. And that's typically the time of the year where guys are reeling with their health. So it's a clutch window there to help them just take a deep breath. And especially if you get started off hot and you're in a good place, it allows you to heal late.
Well, and especially for a new coaching staff, too, that they're going to try to figure it out with how they manage this team. But that's not – I'm kind of with you on where it is in week 13 because you look at that middle part of the schedule, you're playing 5 straight teams that made the playoffs last year, and then you're going into the heavy divisional races. Speaking of divisional races and divisional games, the Ravens have a couple primetime games, actually 4 or 5 primetime games. One of them going to be in Cincinnati on New Year's Eve. Here's Joe Burrow, who seems to be quite happy about that.
Playing in Baltimore for the 4th straight primetime year isn't ideal. Maybe we could get one of those in Cincinnati next year. please.
So that was Joe Burrow last season, speaking to when they had to come here. His wish was granted.
I love it, man. I had the opportunity to spend a lot of time with Joe Burrow at the Pro Bowl this year, and I actually love him. Super sarcastic. He's kind of like the dressier version of Joe Flacco, right, in terms of his sarcasm, but really good guy, and I'm glad that he gets his wish of a primetime game in Cincy.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to talk to you about that. I'm sure you mentioned on here, but that was cool watching them all play the flag. I know you're big in flag, too.
Yes, and he was super competitive,
yeah.
So. That's the one thing I like. You have an opportunity. I was always like that as a player, but to see guys and how much they really love the game and how much they like to compete and what type of energy they bring to their teammates, watching from afar, I think everyone can admire Joe Burrow and what he brings to it. But to have the opportunity to spend real time with him, he's one of my favorite players in the league.
Yeah, I thought that whole thing where actually players that maybe you wouldn't like or cheer for, it actually made them really likable in that sense. You're like, no, you're not supposed to cheer for that guy, you know? But
a whole lot of that going on.
Well, they will face him on New Year's Eve, and just looking at that last bit of the schedule, I mean, this is how the league has set this up with the AFC North. I mean, it's going to either come down to the regular season finale or that last game of the season.
I mean, it's smart. Right? History shows that that's just what it's going to boil down to, right? At the end of the day, everyone's watching their schedule this time of the year. The NFL did a great job of making sure there were no tips early. Everyone's going to have to play everyone there. And again, I love it. I think it was very smart by the league to do it this way, and it's going to allow for an extremely stressful December for Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Baltimore, and Cincinnati fans.
Well, you see that whole schedule, December, and then you go and you flip the calendar. How important, especially coming out that bye, is it to be playing your best football at the end of the season?
Oh, man, it's amazing. You need it, right? To me, the bye week is more than just an opportunity to retool and see what you do well. I think that's kind of overrated in a sense. I know we always talk about it, coaches and players, but the reality of it is they have guys working 24/7 to figure out what they do well, right?
Yeah.
The numbers are better than they've ever been to help you figure out what you do well. However, that rest mentally to get away from football, to think about something else, that's where the biggest value for a bye week is, in my opinion. I think this team, having it later, from my experience, has been one that really helps you to reset and get back focused.
Something that I feel like always even like gets lost in this too. It's like, okay, you guys are athletes and that's your job and you're out there on the field, but you're also husbands, you're also fathers, and it's like, okay, this is like busiest time of the season for family-wise too. So I'm sure the wives don't mind that bye week right there too.
Oh yeah, definitely. I know they appreciate it, with the kids and their breaks and things at that time. For the guys that do have kids, it's definitely great to have that time just to reset.
All right, well, we got to take a quick break, but when we come back, the Ravens, they're heading to Rio. We're going to dive into that matchup coming up next on Purple Playbook.
This is the Purple Playbook, brought to you by M&T Bank. The winning prognosis, brought to you by LifeBridge Health. Care bravely.
And welcome back to Purple Playbook. I'm Grace Grill, joined by Torrey Smith. We're talking Ravens schedule that was released this week. There's always a whole hoopla for this day. I didn't get to ask you, did you see the Ravens release video? What'd you think?
I saw it on the back end with social media. I thought they did a good job. I think the Ravens social media team and media team in general is one of the best in the league. They consistently, I like to use the term, they don't do too much, right? I think they do a great job of staying true to the brand, but also making it exciting and creative, and they allow their talent to go and shine. And I love the guys on the back end that take care of business.
One of the things that I was happy about was that they kept them kind of shorter. We'll get to that a little bit later on. But looking at the Ravens schedule, strength of schedule wise, they have the sixth easiest schedule according to Warren Sharp and his analytics. Sixth easiest based on the opponent's winning percentage from last season. So I see that as probably a good thing for a new coaching staff. What say you?
It's definitely a positive thing, but I will tell you this, beware that it's the NFL and everyone's good, right? But the reality of it is this is the team that we're used to being number one, number two, number three when it comes to the hardest schedules. So if there's any kind of a bone that can be tossed their way, this is a great opportunity to get started off the right way when it comes to the competition on paper. I want to continue to say that because there was a time where the Cleveland Browns were one of the worst teams in the league by record. However, they used to give us fits. So you want to be respectful to all opponents, but that's a great opportunity going into the season.
Well, they are going to have their fair share of challenges, whether they're a challenge or an opportunity, but the Ravens are headed to Rio this year. It'll be week 3 against the Dallas Cowboys. Kind of a fun trip to make, but long flight.
Super long flight, very fun, a lot of free time. You'll have the opportunity to go and explore a little bit. That's the one thing that people don't understand. When you leave in these trips, it's more so a routine breaker, right?
Yeah.
Like typically, we're out of the office or the building at 5, 6 o'clock, whatever it is, and now I drive home. Now it's okay. We have to bus to a field. I have to figure out who my therapists are. Like, what's my routine? So there are some things that people don't see from the outside when it comes to getting prepared, but I do know that the Ravens will do everything in their power to make sure that their guys feel physically fit. And also those players will invest in bringing their people out that get them ready to play on Sundays.
Well, I remember when the Rams, I think they were playing their international game. They were here. I think they played us here, and then they were like practicing at Camden Yards and everything. So they were just staying on the East Coast just for time difference. But how big is that for you guys, even just sleep schedule? Like, how much does that impact you guys?
It's huge. Yeah, people like myself, when I played, I didn't sleep well. Yeah. So if my sleep was thrown off, whether it's from a crying baby at home or the real world, right? Like just the clock and routine, it threw me off. Like I would feel it getting ready for the game. Like you have to psych yourself out to try to go around it. But the biggest thing is recovery. You want to make sure that you feel great on Sunday. But again, they're going to do a lot of different things. Sports science is in a great place. They're going to study when's the best time to leave, what should they be doing, what's their protocol, and you just have to follow those things to a T to make sure that you're able to protect yourself.
Well, the good news is that nobody really has an advantage because they're both traveling over there, but they're playing the Cowboys. Dak Prescott, Jerry Jones in his world going down to Rio. What do you like about this matchup? What are you anticipating about this matchup?
Well, it's probably going to be a home game for the Cowboys because they travel well. They travel well. You have kind of that global brand, right? Like no matter where you are, people can say, hey, NFL is small in the grand scheme of the world, which is changing very fast, by the way. But everyone recognizes that star. So you're going to have to deal with that crowd component. It's a huge stadium, right? That's going to be a great opportunity. And I'll tell you what, the fans from other countries are extremely passionate. I had the opportunity to watch football in Mexico City, and I actually go down there and have the opportunity to run football camps a couple times a year. And their passion for the game, you take what you've seen with soccer fans' energy and you bring that same passion to football. It's really cool to see how their game is growing globally, and obviously that's why they're playing down there. It's about expanding the game, and everyone's all on board.
Well, they're continuing to expand. 9 international games this season, the most that they've had in a season. Obviously, they're going to add Australia this year. First ever game they play one in Australia. That will be week 1 between the Rams and the Niners. You thought Brazil was a tough trip? That's tough.
No,
Opening week 2 and not getting a bye after that.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best way to do it. They're going to have to make their cuts early. I think you do it and I think you just go. Who's our team? We load up, we go, and we're just going to figure it all out down here.
The final 2 weeks of training camp are actually going to be in Australia. Yeah. But that's a tough trip. But you mentioned you just seen the growth of the game. Is it too much, though, when you look at how this is kind of America's league?
No. And the reason why I say that is because they're getting paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right? The more you spread out, the more money you make. And again, I love it. I wish I was born about 10 years later. And, I really love where the game is going. And I actually have the opportunity to be on the back end of that, to go and help and figure out creative ideas to help expand the game to other countries, to other kids, even right here where we are, and to help grow the game through 7-on-7 and flag football. So it's literally something that I'm a part of with the league and, what we do at Level 82. So it's really cool to see the game just growing.
Well, I think flag, actually, because it's easier to get off the ground than, like, contact football, but you're seeing that have an impact on how it's built up over there. Do you think, with where it's going, could you see European leagues, South American leagues?
Absolutely. And a lot of these countries already have leagues. They're just super small, right? In Mexico, they have tons of tackle leagues.
Yeah.
You go to South America, there are tons of them. I had the opportunity to go to Dubai and run a flag tournament, and there were athletes from South America. There were athletes, and they have tackle and flag leagues where they were, and that was news to me, right? So just to see where the game is now, the NFL is really taking the initiative to spread it out. But you said something earlier that's the key. Flag football is going to be the reason why tackle football grows at a rapid way, simply because you don't need a helmet, you don't need shoulder pads. give you these flags, and I'll give you this football, and you can go. And that type of access is going to be able to reach places all over the world, and the game is blowing up. And not only just for the guys that are playing with tackle, what it's doing for women is really cool to see where flag is taking the game.
You know what the debate's going to be next, though, is that where they play in all the stadiums, do they play on real grass down there? Because that's always been a debate when the soccer teams come in, and then they're going to have a real conversation about that.
Yeah, I'm sure Brazil will have the finest grass in the world ready for this one.
Yeah. All right, well, we got to take another break, but when we come back, we're going to play a quick game of Something or Nothing right here on Purple Playbook.
This is the Purple Playbook, brought to you by M&T Bank. The Bottom Line, brought to you by M&T Bank.
And welcome back to Purple Playbook. I'm Grace Grill, he's Torrey Smith, and we're going to play a game called Something or Nothing. So first up on the docket, Something or Nothing, all these schedule release videos. The NFL has done such a great job of just making nothing something, actually. Are the schedule release videos good, bad, something, nothing?
I think it's something. It's really good. It's a way to get people engaged. Everyone loves a challenge. Who did it better, right?
Yeah.
That's the best thing about it. When it comes to social media, you're able to see that this is the major driver behind it. Who has the best celebrities involved? Which team is the most creative? Yeah. Who has the biggest budget? These are all things that come into it, and you have these debates amongst fans, and no one does a better job of hyping up something that could simply just be a post than the NFL, and it's just driving everyone's attention to it. And, again, no one does like the league when it comes to schedule releases.
Well, and if you haven't seen it by now, the Ravens essentially had Zay Flowers involved with this year. They had him crash a local Ravens fan's wedding. They sent him, the whole party got tickets to a game and everything, and then they had them release the schedule. Did you like that idea?
I do. I think it's personal, right? Like, it's a way to get people involved. I think the Ravens way is the connection between the fans and the team. I think I've been on a lot of teams and I don't think anyone really connects with their fans as much as the Ravens do. So to have Zay go out and do it, it's really cool. And I always love when you see a player or someone magically coming through a hotel and they crash a wedding anyway. Yeah. I was actually a part of one of those at the Hyatt one time. I'm like, oh, they're getting wedding. Hey, y'all. You know what I mean? And it's just really cool, to see the people that make the game go are the fans, right? Yep. And so to have the fans and knowing what it means to them, that's a really cool experience. It's something they'll never forget. I
was actually excited to see teams get away from the long format. I think a couple years ago, it might have been last year, where the Ravens had like that 8-minute video. The Chargers had that long video, and I was just like, nobody's got time to watch that on social media. So they were pretty quick. I thought the Raiders one was good with Fernando, and they kind of redid a Step Brothers one. Yeah. Actually, I'll give it to the Jets. My favorite one was the Jets. They did like the paint sample one because it was kind of like a social media trend, so I'll give them that. So Something or Nothing. The next topic we got is Something or Nothing. Flacco on the new quarterback show on Netflix, kind of like a reality TV. Is he good? Do you think he's good for reality TV?
I think it's great. It's something, because I think it's great that, first of all, how they get Joe to agree to this. That's first thing first. But secondly, everyone's going to really see who he really is, right? Everyone thinks he's just this cornball, stone-faced guy that doesn't care about anything in life. But look at him still playing at this age, playing well, super engaged. His kids are older now. Two of his kids have his personality in terms of sarcasm, so I'm sure it's going to lead to some classic lines. But I'm excited to see how Joe presents himself because, again, all these other guys are starters. Joe's coming in from a completely different perspective. They're able to see the family side of what does it look like on the back end. So I'm excited about it. And, again, I love – everyone knows I'm a Joe Flacco fan. So I love when people get to see the real Joe, and this would be a great opportunity for people to see that.
Well, one of the other guys on this quarterback show, Jane Daniels, so he'll kind of be another local-ish guy on there. What do you think he'll bring to this show? Oh, man,
first of all, Jaden's a great guy. The Commanders obviously being our neighbors to the south. I love that, he's the guy that they chose because he is a very engaged young man, a guy that, listen, there aren't very many Commanders guys that I would say I would buy their jersey for my child, but he's one of them. But I know that his personality and what he does, his mom, the way they handle business, he's a really cool guy to watch, lead, and compete. But people in Baltimore are going to feel the same way about Jaden Daniels after watching this as they do about Lamar in terms of how easy it is to like them as people.
Yeah. I just think it's a cool new concept that they're doing this year alongside kind of like Hard Knock-ish. But, cool stuff. We got to wrap up the show on the other side of this break. Stick around.
This is the Purple Playbook, brought to you by M&T Bank. Now, WJC's Purple Playbook, brought to you by M&T Bank.
All right, we are going to wrap up the show here on Purple Playbook. But before we go, we got some final thoughts. We were just talking about Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders, and maybe there's some news regarding one of your buddies. There's some interest, I should say, with the Commanders. Do you think that'd be a good fit for him or no?
Yeah, I think Stephon Diggs fits very well, really anywhere. You're talking about a guy that had 1,000 yards and only played half of his team snaps, right? I think he fits very well right here in Baltimore. I think he fits.
There you go.
I think he fits very well with the Commanders and what they have. They have the salary cap space. They have the opportunity. I think it's really cool for him to have the opportunity to come just back to the DMV area. So this is home for him. It's going to be home for him in the long run, and I think he would be a great Commander, and bigger than that, just a great person for this area, for our young men and women.
I think it'd be great for Terps football, too, to have a local guy back here as well. But what else you got going on?
Oh, same old thing, just the community. We have our sports kicking off at Level 82, so we're managing that at the rec center, getting ready for summer camps, and the kids are growing fast.
Kids are growing fast. What about fishing? I know you're a big fisher.
You know that.
Fishing season is coming up.
It will be here. Rockfish season is open in Maryland. Shout out to all my great fishermen out there. Be smart, protect the species. And I'll be out there having a good old time with my kids here soon.
All right, Torrey Smith, man of the people. Football and fishing. That's the new two. But we got to go here on Purple Playbook. We thank you for joining us. For Torrey Smith, I'm Grace Grill. We'll see you back here next week.